Hello everyone, this is Lien and I'm so glad that you're joining me today on the Rachelle Miller YouTube channel. Today I'm creating some happy mail using the paper plane digital stamp from Rachelle Miller. So I'm doing some copy coloring today. I have printed this image onto Transiltite perfect coloring paper and I also printed it onto some Inkadinkado stamping mask paper. That's currently my process when I start with digital stamps. I make sure that I add it into a Word file, and before that I get rid of it or save it or put it away, this file I also print it onto some masking paper. It's always handy. You don't necessarily have to use masking paper if you want to create your own background with Copic markers, or if you don't need a background, it's perfectly fine. But just in case I want to do some ink blending, I have it on the side already at the same size as my image on my card panel. So this card is going to be a slimline card, and that's why I have printed it on half of this Transiltite perfect coloring paper, and then later on I can still decide where I'm going to die cut this image specifically using a frame or a panel die that I have in my craft room. So I already colored a bit. I'm keeping the coloring quite simple of this image. I'm using the same skin tones for these two children. You can of course vary in that, but just to not have a huge amount of Copic markers, I sometimes try to limit myself by reusing some combinations. So the paper, I wanted it to appear very old, so that's why I used those E40s. Also in the description box down below you can find all the Copic combinations that I use today. That's easy for reference if you don't want to revisit the coloring in this video every time you want to use one of the combinations. So the browns also, I am repeating it. The bear will have a bigger combination of brown markers than the backpack because it's a smaller image, but the idea is the same. So from time to time it might be that you have your favorite brown combination with 3 markers. Don't forget that you have a combination of 3 markers and 2 of 2 markers already, and maybe even if you use the outer markers with the tip to tip, you even have a 4th combination. So I always try to look at it that way, to just see if I cannot reuse some of the markers for another brown combination. So for this little child, I am trying to create some curly hair, and therefore I'm just doing a bit of flicking in a half of a circle kind of way to let it appear curly. I'm not an expert in coloring hair, but I'm just trying things out, and I really liked how this turned up. Now, these two children, at first when I ordered this stamp, I thought it were 2 boys. And then when I printed it, I thought, well, it can be perfectly 2 girls or a girl and a boy. It can be anything you want it to be. So I decided to have this little child to be the girl, and then the one with the hat on, the boy. So I'm using some pinks and greens, and I really love these muted pinks and greens that I use today. I think it has a really soft feel without being too soft. So, well, that might be cryptic, but the pink is there, but it's not in your face, but it's not so soft that you can barely see it, and that's what I like about it. Also, the green is a really soft green. Although it's a dark one, it's a soft one. So I'm just building my way up. I personally always color from darkest to lightest. That's what works best for me, but there are so many ways to color with your Copic markers. I think that you should just do whatever you like or whatever end result you prefer. That's the most important thing. We are doing this to have fun, so as long as you're having fun with coloring in your images, whatever medium you're using, that's the best way to do it. So for this bird I decided to go quite bright in comparison with the other ones, but I think it's a really funny bird, and I really like it in the yellows. So the coloring is almost done, and then it's time to really start thinking about how this card is going to end up into a card. So I decided to use this slimline frame that I have. It's the frame-worthy slimline die from Copic Markers. And for the sentiment I'm using the Hello script from Mama Elephant. Now there are many ways to use both of them together, and also you could use the hello in combination with a sentiment that you stamp out, or even hello friend, or whatever you like. I decided to keep it like this and keep all options open. I will write birthday or just happy meal on the inside, and that will work as well. So I cut both dies also out of this ballet slipper from Concord & Ninth. It's colored cardstock that I really like. And now I'm going to add my mask that I made before, that I talked about. I'm going to really softly add some clouds onto the background of this panel. I didn't want it to take away from the coloring of the image, so I decided to use the tumbled glass, which is a really soft distress ink. I'm just softly adding it to the panel. I'm not going all the way until the edge of this panel. I'm just letting it fade out into the white. And I'm also going to extend the clouds later on. I didn't like it that the clouds were only halfway, but this is a stencil that is made for A2 sized cards, but that doesn't mean that you cannot elongate it by just using it another time against it. So here I'm making sure that I have these clouds all over this panel. And once that's done, I can start assembling everything, because then we are almost at the finish of this card. Also, if you remove your mask and you notice that it's still sticky, definitely keep your mask. It always helps to put it on something plastic, for example a stencil. That's not where I'm going to keep it, because I will wash it off and such things. But also, if you're using clear stamps for anything, I always keep it on the back of my stamp set. That's really handy. You always see it when you're using the stamp, and you will know that you have a mask for it. So I'm going to put this frame on top of my card base using some Scotch 3M foam tape, just to have some dimension. And next up I will inlay the colored panel, just using some grit adhesive roller or some liquid glue to have it flat on there. But first I'm going to add the hello, because now I can still use my T-square ruler to get it aligned straight. So just using some liquid glue, and then I'm adding it to my panel. So now onto adhering the panel on top of my card base, just adding some adhesive roller, and then I'm inlaying that panel. You can add a lot of details afterwards, like glossy accents or stickles or whatever you want to. Today I decided to add some iridescent crystals. These are from Studio Katja. A lot of brands have iridescent sequins. I love it. And these crystals have several sizes, which is always fun when you are adding some embellishments. So after fiddling quite a while with the sequins, I added it using some liquid glue. And once everything is adhered, this card is completely finished. I contemplated about adding glossy accent as well, but in the end I ended up not doing that. But you can add as much as you want to, but this is it for me. So that is my card up close, and I will also show some pictures in the end. I hope that you enjoyed this video and of course the end result. If you want to check the Copic combos that I use, check out the description box. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video and stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Many more videos will follow. I hope that you have an amazing day. I will be back soon. Bye!